The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to LSRTV as we bring you round number 3 of the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series live from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Randy Cheneth, Kelly Dahl bringing you all the action from up in the booth, and Mr. Cisco Scaramuza going to bring you all the actions on the cameras here today. Should be an exciting one around this racetrack here, Kelly. Indianapolis Raceway Park, one of the most famous half-mile ovals in the United States, has a drag strip just behind the front straightaway as well to host the likes of NHRA and all sorts of other drag racing action. But this racetrack, very, very unique in terms of its banking and the sort of racing it produces.
Yeah, I'm currently watching the cars going around in practice here. Everyone's kind of running that high line, but it seems to also be a very risky line, as it seems the cars are very tight here tonight. So looks like one wrong mistake and that car is going into the outside wall. So tonight's race may not be just about purely speed, but may also be one about survival.
Now, survival was not an issue last week in the St. Jude 100 at Oxford's Plain Speedway. We went green to checkers without a single caution. So a very clean race last week, and I think we're going to have a lot of clean racing here today from Lucas Oil as the first round, the ASPCA 100 at Langley with a clean race as well. But tonight's Lions Club 100 is going to be interesting to watch. We've had two different winners in 2 different weeks, Kelly, mostly because of the fact that we have those different, that unique gridding system in this championship, and because of that, the championship standings are as follows. John Holcomb, he currently leads the way, only 1 point over Donnie Moore, and then 2 points back, or ahead, excuse me, of Mike Holloway and Matt Chinosky. So points through 2 races, very, very close as you'd expect.
Yeah, but just the top 7 drivers are only separated by 5 points. Really, the top 10 is even within 10 points. So there is no real strong contender for the championship just yet. Everyone has to drive extremely hard from flag to flag here, as each week seems to be extremely vital for these points. As you mentioned, those grids are set a bit differently. We aren't going to have a qualifying. The top 10 of the finishing order of last race, they're going to be inverted, and they're going to be put into the top 10 to start this race. So whoever came 10th last week, they're starting in first. The winner, he's starting in 10th, and everyone else back there just kind of falls where they may.
Definitely one of those things that can be a little frustrating for these drivers, but it puts on a unique show in this Outlaw Modified Series, and it's been a lot of fun to watch through the first 2 weeks. As Kelly just pretty much explained, the points very, very tight, but through 2 races, not much else you could really expect. And as we look forward down deeper in the season, that's when we'll be expecting to see breakaways. Practice session is currently up and running. Quickest in practice right now is at number 26 of Donnie Moore with a 21.823, but there's a lot of competitive names here, Kelly, with pretty much the top, I'd say about 15 or so, maybe closer to top 12, all within a tenth of a second or one another.
Yeah, at this point, it's really too close to tell who's going to be the favorite for the race here tonight. As mentioned, there's really not a lot of room for error on that top line. So someone that may have that fast time, like Donnie Moore, he can make just one small move, slam that car into the outside wall, and just bend in one of those axles just a little bit, and there goes all his speed for the night. So really at this point, we can't call who's going to be the favorite. We're just going to have to see what's going to happen when that green flag waves.
Definitely going to be hard to predict, as it always is around these sorts of short tracks throughout North America. Regardless if they're dirt or asphalt, it's so hard to predict who's going to be strong, who's going to take care of their stuff, and who's going to come on late. We saw that last week at Oxford Plains as well. Some drivers really struggling with the tires near the end of that event. Some drivers came on strong in the last handful of laps. 30 seconds left in this qualifying session. We're going to go down some track facts here around Indianapolis Raceway Park. Like we said, just a slightly larger than a half a mile Mile Oval, opened in 1958, purchased by the NHRA in 1979, and had a flurry of sponsors who have taken control of this racetrack, the likes of O'Reilly as well as now Lucas Oil Raceway, but it's most commonly known as Indianapolis Raceway Park, which hosts all sorts of fantastic racing events here throughout the United States, because like the Global Rallycross, various asphalt oval stuff comes here, and of course you have that drag strip behind the front straightaway that hosts NHRA events. Always a big factor here in this one, and Kelly, as we're getting ready to get this 100 laps started here tonight.
And as you mentioned, it does have a bit of a unique banking. It's got 12 degrees around all of those corners, so you'll see everyone kind of running similar lines through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll have to see if anyone's going to modify their line, but from practice, it looks like everyone's going to be up near the wall.
That's what you typically always see at this Lucas Oil Raceway. The progressive banking at the top means it's flatter down along the bottom than it is up on that high side up against the wall. So because of that, you can also always get fantastic side-by-side racing around this racetrack. But with that, the grid is getting themselves set right now, and let's go down your starting grid here for round number 3, the Lions Club 100, live from Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Starting in first, we have the 25 of Justin Powers. Rolling off second will be the 5 of Lowell Jewell. Third will be Todd Liston. Fourth, Donnie Moore. And rounding out your top 5, the 23 of Brian Dent.
John Holcomb, he's going to roll off P6. He won their late model race here just before this event, so he's got some momentum here tonight at Indianapolis. Mike Allen will roll off 7th. Matt Chinosky will roll off 8th. J.R. Shepard 9th. And Kenny Kibbe, he will round out your top 10.
Kurt Smith in that number 6 car will be rolling off at 11th. 12th goes the 88 of Greg Stafford. 13th is the 13 of Stefan Alphonse. Charles Lara will roll off 14th, and 73 of Jeff Sharp. He'll start 15th.
Rounding out your 19 car field tonight, Ryan Detzler is taking that 16th spot. John Hine in 17th. Chip Dickert in 18th, and 19th will have Eric Nordoff, and that's going to be your entire field here in this one. Still waiting for that iRacing safety car to come down to the safety pit lane. It's going to be 2 pace laps around this short track here in Indianapolis. Kelly, and what's your predictions here? We got one more lap before we go. Dustin Powers starting on that inside road, not necessarily where we want to be. I think Lowell Jewell has a good opportunity to take that race lead into 1 and 2 for the first time.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those guys on the high side are going to have the advantage, which is not something you normally see. Normally, you're wanting to be on that bottom line, just dive into the first turn. We'll have to see if the that 25 is going to be able to hold on that inside to see if he can maybe dive it a bit harder, maybe even kind of pull off some sort of a slide job to get up in front of the 5.
NHRA race is here, and it's going to have to be a quick reaction time on the green flag from Dustin Powers as your 19 car field works themselves through corners number 3 and 4 and on towards your front straightaway, and he gets on it early, does that 25 machine. Green flag flies in the Lions Club 100 here from Lucas Oil Raceway, and it's a good start here from Dustin Powers to get himself clear. You see him running the middle of the racetrack as well as that second place runner of Lowell Jewell. They're the only two pretty much have themselves single file thus far. The rest of the field still side by side into 3 and 4.
Donnie Moore does beat out the 87 of Todd Liston. Todd Liston will lose another position as well to John Holcomb, as really that top line is dominating the inside, and the guys just on the inside are trying to find any sort of gap that they can fit their cars into to get on the high side. Sounds like we have a car in the wall back in the field. Looks like everyone's pointed in the right direction though, so we will stay green.
Oh, we got a big pile up on the back straightaway. There's fun in this one. This is 4, 5, 6 cars, I think, piled up on your back straightaway here at the end of lap number 2. And we had a very, very clean race last week, and we already kick it off with a big caution here in this one tonight. The 59 of Mike Allen. He's the first car who really got turned and really kicked off this incident. He had a little bit of help though from the 98 of J.R. Shepard, but that's a big pile up here at the start of this one, Kelly.
Yeah, it looks like the 98 was getting on the throttle. Expected the 59 of Mike Allen to be up closer to the wall, and just kind of as he powered it out and exited the corner and trying to get up to the wall, you just kind of clip that rear end. And really, when you've got all these guys packed up together still at the start of the race, when you get a car sideways coming off the corner, there's not a lot of time to react and slow these cars down. It really caught up, I think, 6 or 7 cars actually.
By my count, we had about 8 cars involved in that incident, and that's a huge incident for these guys, Kelly. Considering it's only a 19-car field for 100 laps tonight, that's about half the grid that was involved. Now, not all of those cars are going to have race-ending damage. Most of them will likely be able to come down pit road, get their cars repaired, and probably stay on that lead lap, and a handful of others as well. That damage likely not too bad. We won't likely be seeing them come down pit road, but that's a big incident that affects a large chunk of the field here at the start of this race.
Yeah, there seems to be quite a few of the drivers that did get involved in that accident that came down pit road. Looks like a couple of them may be parked for the night. Mike Allen and J.R. Shepard, they've pulled that thing into the pits and haven't moved since. As a few others like Greg Stafford and Ryan Detzler, they have pulled down the pits and gotten a bit of damage repaired. They cannot take tires in this series. The tires you start on are the ones you have to finish on. But what they did is just got some damage banged out and tried to get themselves to stay on that lead lap with as clean of a race car as they can.
So everyone trying to get whatever repairs they can. As Kelly just said, no tire changes allowed whatsoever. So if that car gets jacked up, you either have to call it a night or you risk a suspension going into the next round. But as long as you do not come back out on the racing surface, that will not be an issue. Still under caution, though, here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. And you see everyone swerving a little bit, keeping themselves warm, keeping those tires clean and up to temperature. But I think we should be getting the one to go, Kelly, either this time or next time by.
Hopefully with this time by, we'll get everyone stacked up again. Dustin Powers had a great launch on that inside last time around, and the way this series works, the leader has control of the green flag. He controls the start and restart in turn 4 after the pace car is completely off the track. However, at this racetrack, that pace car is getting off the track before they even get into turn 3. So Dustin Powers has a lot of time to think about how he's gonna pull off his start, and really can catch a lot of these guys off guard, which he really caught the number 5 off guard last time and just jumped way off in the lead. So Lowell is definitely going to have to be looking out his left window there and trying to see when that 25 is going to be launching.
The number 5 machine of Lowell Jewell has to be quick. I think his spotter needs to be telling him that, because this place is so easy to make that pass on the top side that if he just gets the whole shot, gets a good jump, I think he'll be able to take that race lead. 25 of Dustin Powers, though, is in command of the field, and that's the advantage he has as they roll off of corner number 4. Waiting, and Dustin Powers gets immediately on that go pedal. It's not a good jump once again from Lowell Jewell. I think he's closer, but it's definitely not the momentum of the run he would have wanted. The 25 team immediately slides up to the top side of the racetrack. Donnie Moore working the bottom, kind of straddling one of the little aprons there around that section of the racetrack where there's a couple transitions in the banking. He works himself down through the middle of the racetrack, still wheel to wheel fighting for the second spot. Donnie Moore doing good work to make that middle groove work, but I don't think it's going to end up working out here. They come on towards the front straightaway. You see John Holcomb on the top side. He's looking to make a move on Donnie Moore.
Oh, the number 5 has scraped the wall, and Lowell Jewell is into the wall, and that's going to make it looking almost 3 wide there as the 23 of Brian Den. He tried to go up the inside to see if he can get past everyone while they were checking up, but Lowell Jewell will stay in his position. Looks like the 6 is in the wall as well. Kurt Smith tags the wall hard, and we got a number of cars. We got cars sideways.
Big incident. 3 cars are down along your inside wall here. I'm not sure who all's around. John Holcomb's involved. I think Matt Chinosky as well as Brian Den all involved in this incident. So that's going to be yellow flag flying once again here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Not sure what kicked this one off though, Kelly. Just looks like a bit of a stack up going off corner number 4.
It looks like Holcomb was just trying to get that run off of 4 as he had Donnie Moore to his inside. Just got a little bit of contact between the two. Donnie seems to be all right. Get a little bit of a tap from the 69 as he went spinning, but really the guy who just kind of got caught out by that was Brian Den in that 23. Just had nowhere to go, got nailed by the 69, sent flying into that inside wall, as well as that 00 car of Matt Chinosky. He was just kind of trying to see if he can escape the incident, try to dive to the inside, and end up just T-boning that 69 car.
Yeah, as he said, it pretty much all started with that incident between Donnie Moore and John Holcomb. It was an aggressive move from Donnie down in that middle groove. We saw him, though, he was looking pretty strong down there when we went back to green, and unfortunately for him, he just caught that left rear on John Holcomb. I say unfortunately for him, he pretty much stayed relatively clean through the incident following that contact, but it's pretty much that incident that sparked that whole thing, and we're under caution already here for the second time tonight, and light still on that safety car, so it's going to be another couple laps. But Kelly, it was green all the way last week, and these guys looking a lot more aggressive tonight.
Well, it's mainly the fact that the racing line here is just so narrow. You can only really have one place to go around this track, and everyone's trying to just kind of get as high up on that racing surface as they can, knowing that the best place to be is right up against that wall. So the guys on the inside are trying to pinch those guys on the high side a little bit, and normally on racetracks, it's the guy on the high side pinching down the bottom side, and if the bottom side guy can still kind of escape is when if he sees something going on, he can dive to the inside. And also when they track out off the corner, both of those cars are going to be going towards the outside. Is here, since they're already there on the outside, the guy on the inside kind of, as he gets the power down a little too early, his car tightens up a little bit, and I'll just bring him right into that guy that's on the on his right.
And one of the things that's also a struggle around this place, Kelly, is the fact that most racetracks get up, down along the bottom. You need to be a little bit cautious of the apron. Here, because you have that progressive banking, and this is something that affects most racetracks, even though the banking it doesn't vary by much, it's enough that if you straddle one of those seams, and if you look closely, you can see the seams through the corner. If you straddle those where the banking gets steeper and steeper and steeper, you're going to sort of get the same effect. And if you're really good, you can use that seam to loosen up the car. But if you're not expecting it, you just get your line a little bit wrong. It is possible to kick that thing loose if you get that car a little bit too down low or even up high.
It doesn't seem to be too much of an issue here tonight for these guys, though. These cars are noticing to be a bit tight. I haven't seen anyone get loose off the corner, but we saw in that last run there, just those short couple laps, there was at least 2 cars that nailed that outside wall. So those guys have got to be careful with that throttle control. They need to keep up the momentum around the corner, but if they get on that throttle too early, they're going to slam into that outside wall and kill all of their momentum.
Of course, keeping good care of the tires is going to be a big talking point in this one. But with that said, the first 10% coming up towards 20% of this race already scored gone under caution. That should be, I don't want to say easy, but it's going to take a lot of the work taken out of that as we're getting our wave around, cycled themselves through. J.R. Shepard is catching up towards the rear of the field. Also had Mike Allen getting caught up towards the rear end of that field. And just going to be interesting to see here now on the second restart of the night, Kelly, if that number 5 machine, a Lowell Jewell, can get the reaction time on that top side, get a good jump, and really fight for that race lead in 1 and 2. He's been caught napping these first 2 starts.
Yeah, that last start, he wasn't even alongside the 25 when the 25 launched. So Lowell's definitely got to take a look at what he's doing on these starts and restarts and figure out a different way to watch for when Dustin's going to go, because if he gets that good jump, he's in the preferred line. If he just keeps his nose just at the rear bumper of that 25 car, he has a chance to make the pass for the lead.
Pace car ducks to the safety of pit lane, and the 25 of Dustin Powers will once again be in command of this field. He's been perfect on the restarts thus far. Let's see if he can make it 3-4-3, heading towards corner number 4. And once again, he goes relatively early. Green flag flies here again in the Lions Club 100 here from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Have that 4th place runner, I believe, in the wall on the outside. That, I believe, was Todd Liston, but he still looks good. Right side tires came off the ground, though, for a moment as Donnie Moore is continuing his momentum in that middle groove, trying to fight with that second place. Runners are under caution again. A big pileup once again down the back straightaway. John Holcomb's involved in this one as well.
Yeah, it looks like the 22 checked up slightly, and Eric Nordoff checked up. John Holcomb was caught off guard by that suddenly slowing up race car. Just tagged him with a little bit on that left rear, sent him spinning into that 0-4 Chip Dicker. Chip nails that outside wall, and I think also collects the 0-0 possibly. We got also to the inside wall that Eric Nordoff and that 6-9, so I think some hard damage for a lot of those cars, which may possibly take them out of the running tonight.
You mentioned, Kelly, that people have been struggling a little bit tonight getting tight. I think that's what happened in that 22 machine of Eric Nordoff. I think either that car got a little bit loose underneath him or he started to push and he just had to lift off that throttle, and John Holcomb absolutely not expecting that. Really nowhere for Holcomb to go, just plowed into the back of the 22 machine. As that's a couple more cars with big damage here in this one tonight. But that's 3 cautions in really quick succession, and it's only one of the incidents that's been a cause, I would say, of super hard aggressive racing. The other ones, it's just sort of been awkward timings for drivers and leaving drivers behind, oftentimes nowhere to go.
Yeah, but one thing we haven't mentioned, that 26 of Donnie Moore, he did have his nose out ahead of the number 5, so Lowell Jewell is going to drop back into 3rd, and now Donnie Moore, he's going to get an opportunity to be alongside Dustin Powers as we take the green next time by. So we'll get a bit of a shake-up on that front row, and maybe Donnie's got a different strategy to these restarts, and possibly Donnie can make a move for the lead in turn 1.
And Donnie Moore has been so aggressive here that I think it's going to be interesting to see if he can get that jump going here, because the 5 machine of Lowell Jewell hasn't had the pace on the restarts to be able to fight for the race lead, but Donnie Moore has been a lot more aggressive and has been looking like he looks a bit more racy here tonight at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if he can definitely, like you said, get that jump out front, but still going to have to be patient, because as we said, Justin Powers, we've had 2 races thus far, Kelly, that it's been 100 laps led by the same driver in the first 2 opening rounds. Of course, last week it was J.R. Shepard, and the week before that with Tim Shanosky. Both of those drivers went green to checkered in those events. This one tonight, Dustin Powers, he looks keen on making that 3 in a row.
Yeah, Dustin Powers has been driving very well so far, getting the perfect jumps that he needs to on these restarts. And really, as long as he can keep up his momentum, if we do get a long green flag run, I think he does have the possibility to take all 100 laps here tonight. So that 25 Dustin Powers just has to make sure he varies up his restarts. He doesn't want the 26 or the 5 or whoever will be alongside him to figure out when he's going to be jumping and if he does fall into a pattern. So as long as he keeps things varied just a little bit, I think he will have the opportunity to really lead all 100 laps here. As we've noticed so far, it's been very difficult to pass at this racetrack.
One other thing to talk about is that 69 machine of John Holcomb. He's been competitive through the first 2 rounds, and like you said, he took the win in the late model race that this series runs just before this event. The 69 machine of John Holcomb, because that's the second incident he's been in, they do have fast repairs that are used in this championship. You get 1 for every night, and John Holcomb, he comes in and he's already used that first one, and he gets into that second big incident. And that 69 Planters machine is going to be a very, very hurt race car once we go back to green flag racing.
Yeah, there's a number of drivers already that have used that first quick repair that they have, and we're down to just 15 cars on that lead lap. As a number of cars are multiple laps down, and we have a couple cars that have pulled off here for the night. But John Holcomb and Mike Allen, they're 3 and 4 laps down, but however, if they're lucky, they could get the lucky dog here if we keep getting cautions.
iRacing safety car ducks to the safety pit road. The 4 drivers we have laps down are John Holcomb and Mike Allen. They're out on the racetrack. Eric Nordoff and Chip Dicker, they have called it a night, it seems like, as that 25 machine of Dustin Powers wants to try to get a good start here. The number 25 on the, the 26 on the outside of Donnie Moore, a lot more aggressive coming to the green, but doesn't quite get the timing right. So the 25 of Dustin Powers will have the preferred line in towards 1 and 2. Donnie Moore is going to try to keep that advantage the 25 has out in front of him in check. Down the back straightaway, Moore has a good run in towards 3 and 4. They're not quite able to make anything of it, as we're pretty much single file for the top 3, but 4th on back, we're pretty much side by side by side by side by side.
Yeah, another person that got a good jump was that 87 of Todd Liston. He was able to get around Lowell. We got a big stack up in the field. The 6 is into the wall, get a couple cars sideways, the 2 is around, 4 is around. Another caution as the 69 comes sliding into the incident. I don't think he's got any damage from that. He just kind of slid sideways into the wreck that already happened, but there was a lot of cars that got into trouble there, and everyone was just kind of piled into the wall.
Big incident for sure. Started the 75 machine of John Hine getting into the back of, that was Stefan Alphonse in the 13, that pink machine up along the top side of the racetrack, and that just stacked up the field. And 6 machine, he ended up climbing the wall. We had I think 2 or 3 cars actually climbed the wall, 1 and 2, so another big incident in this one tonight.
Yeah, that was just the cause of everything getting stacked up. We've seen multiple times tonight, everyone's trying to run that same line on that outside there, and when something does go wrong, it's very difficult to try to get that car to the left to escape.
Sorry about that. I lost audio for a moment and thought that you had stopped speaking. So I've got that fixed. Sorry about that. It's never good when you actually accidentally unplug your microphone or your headset cable. But one thing, Kelly, is that we ran Oxford Plains last week, and that's a very single groove racetrack as well. And we didn't really see any of these issues that we're seeing tonight, even though it's an equally difficult racetrack in terms of side-by-side racing, only really one racing line. What is it about IRP, even though it's a very single groove racing track as well, that would cause issues like this versus at Oxford Plains we have such a clean night of running?
Yeah, as I was mentioning, the cars are all up on that high line right against the wall. When something goes wrong, the only way you can turn is left, and you have not a lot of time, and if you're pushing that car to its limit, it's not going to want to turn left on you. It's going to want to be riding that high line, so it's very difficult to get these cars to just get out of the way of that wreck. And as soon as those cars start stacking up, you don't have much time, as these guys have really not spread out at all. They've all been very bunched up, and really that just one thing leads to another, and we've just got the cars stacking up and plowing into each other.
So definitely not the night of racing we would have liked here on LSRTV, but it's still been an exciting one, and it's been an exciting championship thus far. And I think these guys, they'll get themselves shaken out here eventually, and we'll get at least some great, clean racing tonight after, I believe this is the 4th caution we've had on the evening. At the 3rd or 4th, I've lost track at this point. But as this pace car comes through, what do you think Donnie Moore in that 26, Kelly, needs to do to try to fight for that race lead with the 25 of Dustin Powers, because no one's had anything for him?
I mean, he's had a few restarts where he's been behind that 25, gotten to watch where he's jumped, and now he's had one look at where the 25 has been leading the cars as he's been alongside him. And he's definitely a lot more aggressive than Lowell was on that restart there. He was pulled up completely alongside him when Lowell was just kind of hanging a bit further back, wanting to get a better view. Donnie Moore is definitely watching out that left window, trying to see when that 25 is going to be jumping. So Dustin's got to change it up here. He can't jump at the exact same spot, or else Donnie's going to call it. He may be in trouble as they come down the straightaway, because Donnie doesn't have to pass it before turn 1. He just has to have his nose to the rear bumper of Dustin Powers and just keep Dustin from going all the way up to that wall like he wants to be.
So we're getting one car, getting the lucky dog. That's a 59 machine of Mike Allen in that Clarence's Steakhouse modified. He's going to be taking the wave around here. Everyone else now cycling themselves over the front straightaway, and I believe the lights on that iRacing safety car will be going out, and indeed they do. So we'll be going back to green flag racing in a 0.69 miles time here in this one, and it's going to be all eyes on those top two, as we've seen Donnie Moore be so aggressive when he was starting in third on these restarts, trying to fight for that second spot, but he's only now getting his second opportunity to restart on that high line and maybe make something of this. Interesting to note as well, the 5 of Lowell Jewell, he has fallen back to 4th. It's been a good run from Todd Liston. He's been able to hold on to that 3rd spot. iRacing safety car ducks back to the safety of pit road. The 25 and the 26. They're going to roll off 1 and 2 here through 3 and 4. When will Dustin Powers decide it's time to go on this one? You see the 26 of Donnie Moore keep just poking that nose out ahead, coming through corner number 4, and he's going to be very, very close to the 25 through 1 and 2. Might be able to lock Dustin Powers down to the low side, but no, not quite there. That was aggressively driven into 1 and 2 by Donnie Moore. He sort of had to check up a second time through the entry of 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, but not only has the 26 kept it close, the rest of the field has as well. Everyone's extremely tightly bunched up towards that front of the end of the pack. So Dustin Powers, he's got to get that pedal down and get a bit of a gap opened up at this point. One small mistake could have cost him that lead position, as people are still jockeying for position. That 14 of Kenny Kibbe, he's trying to get on the inside of Stefan Alphonse and try to take away that top 5 position, but he's definitely trying to fight an uphill battle as that 13 is on that outside preferred line.
We know that middle groove isn't great, but we've seen a couple drivers sort of make it work. The 14 of Kenny Kibbe's doing a good job. Donnie Moore is also doing a good job there. The fight for 3rd, excuse me, take that back. 2nd is now heating up 87 of Todd Liston. He runs the middle groove here on Donnie Moore. Donnie's the one who sort of trademarked that move, and this time the 87 wants to say, you know what, anything you can do, I can do better. He's nosing ahead of that 26 car, and that 87 Spotify machine, he had that middle groove absolutely hooked up. Kelly, who said you can't pass down low? Because he looks lightning quick down there, with almost clear Donnie Moore onto the front straightaway, and he comes off 2 down the back straightaway. He has that job done. That 87 of Liston is absolutely hooked up right now.
Yeah, that Liston has got it figured out on that inside line. That's a huge advantage here for him tonight, because we've seen not very many people have been able to work that inside. Oh, big checkup for the 26, Donnie Moore. He gets a bit of a bump from Lowell Jewell, as looks like Donnie's starting to struggle here as this run goes on. He's got to find himself into a groove here. Now that 14 of Kenny Kibbe, he's going to get in front of the 5, actually tap the 5. Lowell has to check up, but looks like everyone will get around cleanly. However, that's going to work out well for that 86, or sorry, 98 of J.R. Shepard. He's been way back in the field. He had a wave around earlier on in this race, and he's got himself now up into a top 5 position.
Todd Liston, who runs 2nd, we just saw him take that 2nd spot. Kelly looking so quick right now. 22 flat from that number 87 machine compared to a 22.2 from Dustin Powers. So not only does he have that car figured out down low, he's got that car figured out up top, and is absolutely making moves right now on towards the front straightaway. It's going to be a 22.3 from your race leader of Powers versus a 22.2 for Liston. Also in the behind at Donnie Moore, he's doing a 22.1, so while he was having a little bit of trouble, seems like he's gotten that somewhat figured out now, as that 87 continues to be a hard charger, reeling in that 25.
And it looks like Donnie's trying to stay with Todd Liston as well. He wants to just maybe tail along with Todd, and if Todd tries to make a move on Dustin Powers, I think the 26 is going to try to keep up with this or pick up the scraps, as they're both starting to reel in that 25 now. Dustin Powers is definitely got to be seeing those guys getting closer and bigger in his mirror, so he's got to be worried about that coming up soon, but he's got to focus on his line and keep running a clean line here, because if he makes a mistake now, that's definitely going to cost him, as we now know that Todd Liston can run that inside line, so he just has to get onto any side of the 25. Doesn't have to be that preferred line on the outside. If he just gets his nose to the inside, he may have a chance to make a break for the lead.
One of the big questions, though, has to be if that 25 machine is someone underdriving that car right now, wanting to keep those tires underneath them. We're not even halfway here in this one tonight. Still got over 60 laps of running coming at you tonight, as Todd Liston's trying to still fend off Donnie Moore in that 26. That 26 car, he definitely looked slow for about a couple of laps, about 8 or 9 laps ago, but now he seems to have got that car figured out, as he is hounding the back of Todd Liston, who made him look really slow, I'll just say, through 1 and 2 just a handful of laps ago.
Yeah, maybe starting to bug Liston a little bit. It looks like he wasn't quite as fast that lap. Let's see if he takes down. Oh, big problems to the 26. 26, Tawny Moore into the inside wall after tagging that outside wall. A lot of smoke pouring from that engine, so there's some big problems for the 26. He's going to have to take that fast repair, and unfortunate for him, we are staying green, so that's going to take the 26 out of the running for now. Replay is going to be up on your screen as you watch what happened to that 26 car.
Just coming off corner number 4, I think he may have got a little bit loose, and then he got tight as he transitioned towards that front straightaway. We talk about the creases as you go up the racetrack, and the banking gets steeper and steeper. I think he got a little bit loose, got it underneath him, and then that car got tight as it transitioned up the banking a little bit. Because of that, he caught that outside wall, kicked those right side tires up and off the ground, and when that happened, it just spat that car down to the inside of the racetrack, and unfortunately for him, he pops that motor. He's got the car back down to the safety of pit road, and he should be able to get a repair in that 26 machine, and indeed he did. He's rolling back out there on the racetrack, but that's going to put him well down the order and on the back foot tonight.
Yeah, that puts him at least one lap down. However, he is still the lucky dog at the moment, so he's got to hope for a yellow flag to come out and then try for that uphill climb throughout the field. But that's definitely something that the 87 was wanting to see at the moment. He was getting absolutely hounded by that 26 car. And now he's a bit more free, but that may not last for long, as that 14 of Kenny Kibbe, he's growing ever closer to that 87. And I think he wants to improve his position by 1.
That's what I was about to say. There was a vacancy there in the 87 machine's rearview mirror, and Kenny Kibbe decided to pay up for that rent, and he's going to take room and board behind that number 87 machine of Todd Liston as they roll off through 1 and 2. All these drivers still opting for that high line of the racetrack here, Kelly. So we're not seeing anyone move for that bottom groove by themselves just yet here, which isn't much of a surprise. That said, car, I think, running 4th right now, there's J.R. Shepard. He's running a little bit lower than everyone else if you watch his racing line here, and this could give him a little bit of an advantage in that 98, because he might be able to make a sneaky move. Because look how low he is on entry here in towards 1 and 2, and goes all the way to the bottom of the racetrack towards the exit here, trying to make a move here on Kibbe.
Yeah, he's essentially trying to pull off a slide job here, just trying to get down underneath Kibbe. And look at Kibbe. He's going to try to shade over and kind of cover off that inside line. He saw J.R. Shepard coming, and that is not the fastest line for Kenny Kibbe. That's actually going to be a bit more costly for him, as the 98 is going to get a little bit closer to the back of that 14. And looking back towards the front, though, Todd Liston, he's getting a bit closer to Dustin Power as he's starting to get a glimpse of the race lead here. So he's got to keep up that race line, and once he catches up that 25, he's got to find a gap for him to try to make a move for that lead.
That 14 machine is super hooked up tonight, Kelly. He started 10th, and this one is already up to 3rd. Been a number of incidents, so maybe he's sort of attritioned his way up there a little bit, but still, the fact that he's up +7 here as we're still within the first half of this motor race shows the sort of speed that Kenny Kibbe has tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely got some speed, and he's got some skill, because it's not only that he's been avoiding those wrecks, he has had to make a few moves for positions here. I've watched a few of the passes that he has made, and as mentioned, it's very difficult to pass here, so he's definitely got it figured out. He's going to maybe try to make a look for a pass here as he tries to go on the outside of the 87.
Trying to make it work up top, but not quite happening here. He's getting hounded by J.R. Shepard in that 98 machine, who, like we said, sort of running that unique line. But that said, he sort of brought it back to the top side of the racetrack, but he still apexes on the exit of these corners super far down low. So let's see, does that 98 machine get a bit of momentum? No move being made just yet here. Your lead fight, which is at one point really spread out, and Dustin Powers had a pretty big advantage on some of these restarts, is now down to nothing. We have pretty much the entire field that's running out here, Kelly, pretty much stacked up. There's one little gap between Jeff Sharp and John Hine, but besides that, everyone is basically nose to tail in this run.
Yeah, your top 5 is within a second. They are within just under 9/10 even. These guys are all packed up, trying to find whichever gap they can go for. No one can really make a move just yet. The 87 Todd Liston keeps taking a look to that inside, but he can't just get enough of a drive off the corner to make the move on the 25. So Todd's just trying to find trying different lines. I've seen him just stay on the high side, just seen him try to arc it down low, and yeah, everyone's just trying to find different things, but no one can find enough momentum to get around each other.
We're sort of in that phase of the race, aren't we, where everyone's tires, even if you've been pushing really hard, you shouldn't be noticing much drop-off just yet, unless you've been driving the absolute wheels off that machine, but I don't think anyone has been doing that. So we're sort of in that phase where the tires are going to start to drop off, Kelly, because in the next 10 to 20 laps, as we're going to be halfway at the end of this lap right here, the next 10 to 20 laps is going to be when we start seeing those drivers who've been maybe using their stuff up a little bit too much start fighting loose or fighting tight at some point through these corners.
Yeah, it's going to be those guys that have been diving towards that inside line. So watch for maybe the 87 and the 898 to be struggling on those tires as we go on throughout the night, as they've really been pushing hard, trying to get around the guys in front of them, and possibly maybe even that 14 of Kenny Kibbe. He's been making a lot of moves. He could have worn off those tires as he tried to make those, or made those passes throughout the field, moving himself up to third place, and he's still trying to make another move on that 87, but just can't quite find that momentum.
Side-by-side battle here towards the tail end of your top 10. This is Brian Dean and John Hine, and they're fighting for 8th and 9th here on the racetrack. 75 down low, the 23 machine of Brian. He pushes, he gets up into that outside retaining wall, but look at the momentum he gets driving down the apron and down the banking. 23 car, fantastic ability to get that thing back moving, and gets a little bit of contact with the 75, who bounces off the wall and almost gets into the 88 of Greg Stafford. Well done by the 75. Keep that thing going underneath him, but what a move by Brian Dean to make that mistake and then be able to drive that car back up underneath the 75 machine. The 75 very close to that rear nerf bar of Brian Dean.
Looking back up towards the front of the field, though, J.R. Shepard was taking a look on the inside of Kenny Kibbe. Couldn't quite get that momentum off the corner, but look at the run he's got this time. He's got the momentum now. He's going to try to make a move at the inside. He is going to get up at least to the bumper. Throws it up that inside. Can't quite get clear for the slide job, but does have the momentum down that back straight. Is going to be completely even up with that 14, and we've seen him be able to throw that car up the inside before, and he is going to try to slide job the 14, and he will. He'll get up in front of that 14, forces that 14 to slow up a little bit. It looked like the 13 of Stefan Alphonse, he was trying to see if he could get around the 14 as he was checking up.
Well done there by J.R. Shepard. That's exactly how you have to make passes around this Luke. So Speedway, a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact for 5th and 4th out there on the racetrack. Kenny Kibbe and Stefan Alphonse, they got a little bit physical there, came together, but they're going to be cool and just keep themselves running here. I don't think there's going to be any damage on either of those race cars, as J.R. Shepard is continuing his charge and reeling in now the 87 machine of Todd Liston, who looked like the quickest car on the racetrack at one point in this one. Through 1 and 2, they're going to come and down this back straightaway. J.R. Shepard reeling in that 87 a little bit, but Liston does a good job down the back straightaway off of corner number 2 to maintain the momentum. It's Shepard still liking that low line. Meanwhile, Kibbe and Alphonse still having their battle in 4th and 5th.
Yeah, Kenny Kibbe will successfully defend his position, though, but talking about J.R. Shepard, that line he is taking as he arcs down that inside, it is giving him that better launch down the corner or down the back straight, and that is what helped him get around that 14. He's going to throw it up the inside now. He is going to get completely even up with Todd Liston. He is trying to make that move for second.
So the fight for second is coming in for J.R. Shepard as they're wheel-to-wheel into 1 and 2. 98 machine. Can he make that move stick? Not quite. Wasn't quite able to slide up the racetrack in front of Todd Liston, but he gets a good drive, good momentum down off the bottom. He has the position by a nose at the moment, and that's what you need. You just need that little bit of an advantage. Then you can drive it hard into 3 and 4 and slide up the racetrack and take that line away. Exactly what the 98 machine of J.R. Shepard did. Fantastic aggressive driving here from J.R. Kelly, because he's just doing exactly what you need to do. Just get inside, nose ahead just a little bit, and then just drive the car into turns 1 and turns 3, and basically don't brake until you already feel like you're going to hit the wall and slide up in front of that car that you're trying to make the move on. A little bit of lap traffic they're dealing with J.R. Shepard. He is absolutely doing the way you have to race this IRP raceway absolutely perfect.
Yeah, but they will burn off his tires just a little bit as we've got just over 40 laps to go, and now JR's got a long hill to climb to get up towards Dustin Powers. Dustin took the opportunity to run and open up a 0.7 second lead, and just going back though, Kenny Kibbe, he's trying to go for 3rd place. He's pulling himself alongside Todd Liston, but Todd gets that better run off turn 4.
Not quite able is Kenny Kibbe to make that move stick. Let's see, Luke Racy coming off of 2 and down his front straightaway, and let's see, he's gonna look to the bottom side of the racetrack. No, he's not got the move quite yet to the 14 machine, but you see him looking towards that middle groove on the racetrack is Kenny Kibbe. Off corner number 4 now and down the front straightaway, and no advantage quite yet. So Kibbe's looking racy, but Liston's doing a good job matching him. And just looking at the lap times for your race leaders here, Kelly. J.R. Shepard, he's been reeling in Dustin Powers, your race leader, by a little bit, pretty much lap on lap here.
And J.R. Shepard's going to keep up this pace. The time is starting to run out as we go on through this race. And looking back again, Kenny Kibbe trying one more time to get around Todd Liston, but can't quite make that middle line work, and that may cost him a little bit here. If he keeps trying that, he's going to burn off those tires. And if he slows up just a little too much, that 13 of Stefan Alphonse, he's looking to try to just capitalize on any mistake that 14 car is going to make. And now it looks like Alphonse is going to try to go to the inside himself.
Third, fourth, fifth on the racetrack, all having their unique little battle here. Fawns all the way down underneath the apron. We got a car around in the background. Who's that? That's the 75 of John Hine, and that's going to bring out another caution here in this one. He most notably stays off that inside wall, so no big issue for him. And this came with the 88 machine of Greg Stafford that he just got himself into. And just looked to me, Kelly, like the 88 took an aggressive move down to the inside. 75, I think, got a little bit tight. And really, I think 75 of John Hine, he just tried to really diamond off that corner and straighten off that exit, and the 88 machine was always going to be there to his inside.
Yeah, I don't think he realized that 88 was going to his inside and just tried to, as you mentioned, diamond off, get that power down that front straight, and just luckily for them, I don't think he is going to lose a lot of track position. He's going to wear off those tires with the spin. However, that car does look pretty clean. It was a very light touch, just enough of a bump to throw him off balance, but never made any hard contact with the 88, and he didn't make any contact with the wall. He was able to get that car slowed down before he tagged that inside wall. So some damage to his maybe his pride and to his track position, but not much damage to his car. So he still does have a chance at this race.
And one person I think who's going to be counting their lucky stripes here is going to be that 26 machine of Donnie Moore, because he will be getting the lucky dog here. And while he's not going to have a lot of time, Kelly, to work his way through the field, because we're approaching that 30 lap to go mark, he's at least going to be on the lead lap, and he'll be able to at least, you know, if not get to the front, he'll be able to have a bit of a recovery effort here, get some better points as we go into Martinsville next week.
Yeah, and we've seen so far that every point absolutely matters here. Is, as mentioned earlier on in the night as we started off here on the broadcast, the top 7 are within 5 points. The top 10 are within 10, and the top 15 are just 13 points. So every single position matters so greatly here, as no one's really broken away from the rest of the field to be a championship favorite. Everyone here is a championship contender. So everyone here is actually pushing as hard as you can. As you can see the points for yourself up on the screen.
And we take a look at those points, like we said, like we've been saying all night, the points, top 15 within 13 points. Those things are so tight. And really, you can sort of thank the format of the series for that, Kelly, because they have the unique thing with the way they do qualifying, and or rather the way they don't do qualifying. It basically means that if you win one week, you can't just go out, put that car on pole or up near the front of the field, and then just dominate week on week on week. So because of that, really, whoever wins this championship, I think, Kelly, is going to be someone who not only wins a fair bit of races, but can every single week where they're starting deep in the field, that can manage to pull out a 3rd, 4th, 5th place finish. That, I think, is going to be the big decider over this one, is who can make up the most cars when they have to start near the tail end of that field after the inversion.
Yeah, the guy that's best at passing and the most consistent is definitely the one that's going to take home this championship at the end of the season. Is, as you mentioned, they can't just be the fast driver, be really good at hot lapping, and just put that car on pole and just hold everyone off. They have to work their way through the field. Dustin Powers, if he wins tonight, he's going to be starting all the way back in 10th next week, and he may be running some decent laps tonight and be fast tonight. But if he can't, if he does hypothetically win here tonight and try to get some more points next week, he's got to be good at passing and get these guys through the up through the field.
So 26 of Donnie Moore is going to take that wave around, and he will get back on the lead lap and be scored 13th here in this one. So he'll be happy about this as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here in a moment. But I think that 25 machine here, Kelly, is going to have his work cut out for him. He's going to have that charging JR Shepard starting on his outside, and that 98 car has shown that he can make it work on the offline. I think if you put him on the good line, if he can get the jump he needs, I think he could harass and maybe even have that 25 machine cleared as they come off a 2. But it's all depending on if he can get a good jump compared to Dustin Powers.
Yeah, and I don't think he's had an opportunity to take a look at where that 25 has been jumping on the restart. It's Dustin Powers started, or sorry, JR Shepard started all the way back in 9th. He's been kind of running around that top 5, but he's never had that clear view of the 25 and seen exactly where that car has been jumping. So it's going to be completely reactionary for him, or maybe even just a lucky guess.
The 98 machine is wanting to look up the 25 car here and see what kind of restart he can have. Pace car is on pit road already, and Dustin Powers being command of the field, and what a commanding start it is for him. He's going to get clear immediately and be able to get to the top side of the racetrack. So JR Shepard, nothing to be going for him as we're green in towards 1 and 2. 31 laps to go in this race as Todd Liston's trying to harass the rear end of JR Shepard, but Shepard, what a run down on the back straightaway. I think he sort of lifts out of it though, but I think JR could have maybe had to move in towards 3 and 4, but I think because of the traffic behind him, didn't want to do it. The 87 of Todd Liston, he's charging into through the middle.
Yeah, Dustin Powers definitely be liking seeing all these cars side by side behind him. He's going to try to open up a bit of a gap. Looks like the 6 is into the wall. Kurt Smith tags the wall. Everyone's going to scatter behind him and get around, but so we will stay green. And J.R. Shepard starting to open up a bit of a gap and get ahead of the 14 and the 87 behind him. Is Todd Liston and Kenny Kibbe. They're still side by side. Liston and Kibbe get into each other.
Bit of physical racing here in this one towards the end. In through 1 and 2, these drivers will come inside of 30 laps to go. Now this is going to be the point where if you burned up your stuff, you're going to be regretting it, because from here on out, these tires are just going to get worse and worse. Kenny Kibbe working the top side of Todd Liston. That has definitely been the preferred line all night, but will it be as the tires can start to go away? Todd Liston on the bottom has good traction and good momentum, but still the 14 machine up top has that slide advantage. It's still working through the middle. You have the likes of Todd Liston, Brian Dean, and Jeff Sharp through 1 and 2, and Kenny Kibbe is going to be able to get himself clear. As Alphonse and Todd Liston, they both tagged that outside wall, going to keep their car straight forward. But I think the 88 machine, who is that? No, it's the 00 of Matt Chinovsky. He was super loose in towards quarter number 3. He managed to save it, but he took a trip to the grass.
Yeah, it looks like Liston was just trying to get up to that high line before the 13 could get in there, but not a chance for him there. As we get
another car of the round. Car of the round, 75 of John Hines, 6 machine, as well as Kurt Smith. Another caution here inside the final 30 laps of this one tonight. We also had a car up in the wall that Kelly was mentioning. That was actually Donnie Moore, who we mentioned the fact just got back on that lead lap. He was fighting with that 75 car. He was actually involved in that little scrap. The 75 sort of bouncing around between 2 cars there, got into it with Donnie Moore, and then he got into it as well with that 6 machine, which is what sent him and that 6 machine around. So a little bit of a physical couple laps there for that 75 car, Kelly.
Yeah, that's what put the 26 up into the wall. Is he just kind of tagged him as we watch the replay on your screen here, which sent that 26 to the wall. He'll have a bit of damage on that right side, and it could be we'll have to see how bad it's going to be, because he could have pushed in those axles a little bit. But these cars are pretty tough out there, and you can bash these things around pretty good. But we've seen a lot of these guys take some heavy damage and keep going, just even after without taking a fast repair. But as long as you keep that engine clean and keep those tires in alignment, you're all right. But that was a pretty hard shot into that outside wall for that 26 Donnie Moore.
So it's been a good hard scrap for this one as we close in near the end here. That 98 machine of J.R. Shepard here mentioned the fact he started 9th. He actually won last week, but we have a driver who didn't turn up, so he managed to move himself up from 10th up into that 9th spot on the starting grid. And I think J.R. Shepard, considering the way this points format works, and especially with the starting format works, Kelly, we talked about this a little bit, the fact that if you want to have a championship season, you have to be able to win races when you start near the front, and then you have to drive as far through the field as you can on those off nights. For J.R. Shepard, if he can just snag an early win like this on a night where he starts all the way down the deep end of the field, he's going to be really, really happy with that, considering last week he started first and ran just the entire race in that race lead.
Yeah, he's shown to be one of those drivers that's very consistent, and he's got the skills to back it up as well. He's not just hot lapping out there. He's picked his way through the field, starting in 9th and all the way up into 2nd now. And I think looking at the standings as they lay at the moment, if his race were to finish right now, he would move himself into that championship lead with a decent points haul here tonight. So he'll have to keep up this momentum going into next week, though. But there's also, this race also isn't over just yet. He does have that opportunity to take the race win, but he also has maybe an opportunity to take himself out of this race. So that 98 has got to be careful. He's got to think about more for the big picture. Because if he just finishes in this position, that's a great points haul. But if he pushes too hard trying to get Dustin Powers, he could take himself out of this race and maybe even take himself out of the championship picture.
A lot of attrition-filled racing on the iRacing service today. Of course, we've had the Blancpain qualifiers as well as the Road to Pro stuff for the World Championship Grand Prix Series, and of course that 24 hours of Daytona happening right now. So a lot of drivers trying to keep themselves clean on the iRacing service for a variety of reasons, be it fun or be it trying to get themselves a black stripe in this one, or be it trying to get yourself the championship lead in this Outlaw Modified Series. Got a couple cars taking the wave around here. Actually, the car that's taking the wave around is the 59 of Mike Allen. It's been a pretty dramatic night for that 59 car, Kelly. Really not the sort of evening you want to have. He finds himself 3 laps down. The only car whose laps down currently is still running, but still not the night that if you're the 59 car you ever want to have.
Yeah, he's just taking a couple hard shots here tonight and just not had the best of luck. So hopefully he can just salvage what points he may gain tonight and be able to come back strong next week. Because really it seems like 14th is going to be where he's going to finish unless someone else gets into some trouble here tonight.
So lights are out on that safety car. We got the field stacked up 2 by 2. So we're going to be going green here this time by. Waiting for that iRacing Mustang safety car. Ducks to the safety of pit road. And what can J.R. Shepherd do on the top side? I think he's going to be happy where he runs currently, but you know that he'll be happiest if he can make that +1. 25 machine of Dustin Powers has led the whole way though, and you see because of those restarts is one of the reasons you can thank that. Fantastic start here for Dustin Powers as we go green here in towards 1 and 2 and your Lions Club 100 at Lucas Oil Raceway.
Look at the momentum J.R. Shepherd had through the middle of the corner, though. He's got to carry that momentum to the back straight as well. He's got to figure out how a way to get a run on that 25, which is kind of cruising along that high line. And looking back, though, Kenny Kibbe, he's fighting with that 23 of Brian Dent, trying to see which one's going to win it out there. As Kibbe's actually going to lose a lot of ground, going to lose out to Brian Dent and maybe even lose out to that 73 of Jeff Sharp, who's pushed himself up into that high line there.
Kenny Kibbe not having the run he wanted. J.R. Shepherd has a bit of momentum in towards 1 and 2 as we're down to 20 laps to go here through 3 and 4. J.R. Shepherd trying to make something happen. Interesting line from the 23 of Brian Den. Down low to come on towards the front straightaway. He one car tags the wall a little bit. That was Jeff Sharp. Going to be able to keep it clean with the 73. Super loose in towards 1 and 2. And I think Stefan Alphonse caught the back of that 73 car. So we're seeing Kelly, the tires starting to go away as one driver is super loose through 1 and 2 up top.
And now that he's had that first slide, he started to overheat those tires, and that car's just going to get looser and looser. As it actually looks like in that corner, he got a little bit tight as he went way up to that wall, and it's going to allow that 13 of Stefan Alphonse to try to make that move around the inside. Speaking of moves on the inside, that 98 of J.R. Shepherd, he's trying to dive that thing down on the inside of the 25 of Dustin Powers. And if he makes a mistake, though, he's got that 23 of Brian Dent right up on his bumper.
Through the center of 3 and 4 that come. J.R. Shepherd is hard charging. He looks quick, big head of steam on toward the front straightaway. Will he have a take a look right now? No, he will not. Doesn't quite get to the back of Dustin Powers. Not going to be able to make a move here inside of 20 laps to go in this one as J.R. Shepherd continuing trying to diamond off corner number 2 and make any sort of move he can on Dustin Powers. Through 3 and 4, you see him close through the center of those corners. Now on towards the front straightaway here is the 98. He's going to fall back a little bit here. Kelly, his caution's going to fly, and we're going to have about a 10 lap or so shootout as Donnie Moore, he's involved with the 75, I think, once again.
Yeah, it looks like the 75 may actually have been the one that bring out that caution as John Hines just kind of got tagged by the 87, spun right around, and really was Donnie Moore was left with nowhere to go. Just some bad luck here tonight as he hits that 73 hard. Looks like his engine will hold off. Oh, actually, no, he has blown the engine, so he's used his fast repair already tonight, so that's going to spell the end of Donnie Moore's night.
You know, NHRA runs here, Kelly, and I think Donnie Moore, he may have popped more motors than we're used to seeing top fuel cars do.
Yeah, he's blown 2 motors here tonight, and unfortunately, you only get 1 fast repair, so that not a lot of time left in the race. I don't think he's even going to be able to get that thing repaired to even salvage a couple laps here. So that's definitely going to be the end of Donnie Moore's night, and really it's going to shake up what we had building on that front end here. So we'll see J.R. Shepherd. He's going to have another opportunity to try to catch Dustin Powers, but Dustin's been fantastic on those starts, getting those jumps every time, and really it's J.R. Shepherd's going to have to figure out what he can do because he's not going to have a lot of time. We're going to have maybe, as you mentioned, 10 laps to go, and he's got to figure out what he can do to take that position away.
That he does is Donnie Moore's going to get out that car and he's going to start scrambling here in Indianapolis to try to find someone from Don Schumacher Racing or John Force Racing or somebody to come and repair that engine and get it built back up and get him back out there on the racetrack. But I think he's going to be relatively unlikely for that one. But going to be about 10 laps here in this one. Like you said, J.R. Shepherd has to somehow, some way make something stick on the 25, Kelly. And I honestly think that if he just can't get a better restart, I don't know if he's going to have any way of getting around Dustin Powers. That 25 car, really the only one we've not seen have any issues. I haven't seen that 25 car scrape that outside wall at all. I think he's been the cleanest and the quickest car out there on the racetrack by far.
Yeah, he's definitely got a completely spotless car going around right now, maybe except for a few dead bugs on the front end, but he has kept that car extremely clean. He's been running very consistent as well, and that's been the problem for J.R. Shepherd. There's been no point in this track where Dustin has made a mistake and caused himself to check up. So J.R. Shepherd, though, I've seen on those restarts, Dustin will jump out way ahead, but going through turns 1 and 2, J.R. Shepherd immediately closes up that gap. So J.R. is going to maybe figure out if he can use that to his advantage and get a better line off of the corner, as Dustin kind of takes a bit of has to slow up a little bit on that inside going into turn 1.
Field still under safety car conditions here. And the other thing to keep in mind, though, Kelly, is I think we should be getting the one to go signal right here. Still have other drivers to keep in mind. Brian Dean in third, he's been quick. Jeff Sharp's been quick. Stefan Alphonse, he hasn't seemed like the quickest out there, but that 13 machine has just sort of quietly lurked himself into that 5th spot. And of course, Kenny Kibbe, he's had his moments tonight as well.
Yeah, really, anyone up at the front here has an opportunity to take this race and win. It's just going to be very difficult for those guys to spread out throughout the field. Brian Dean, as you've mentioned, he's gone back and forth throughout the night. He's made a couple of good moves, and we saw him in that last run there be very competitive. He was right up on that bumper of Shepard, so I wouldn't count that 23 car out just yet.
So what can J.R. Shepard do? Can he make it 2 in a row, or will Dustin Powers continue our trend this season of having new winners and make it 3 different winners 3 weeks in a row? Green flag flies on towards the front straightaway here, and we're going to have 11 laps to decide that in this one. Is a good jump from the 25 machine of Dustin Powers. J.R. Shepard trying to work the momentum up high. He should get a good run here, I think, but the 25 would take that back. He just perfect to J.R. Shepard tags the wall. Now he is going to have to be fighting for that 2nd spot as the 23 down low of Brian Dean. He wants to take that 2nd spot away.
Brian Dean keeping that car clean, a good run throughout the corner, but J.R. Shepard counters with a fantastic run off of turn 4. A little bit of sliding from these cars up on that high side, and that's going to give a bit of an advantage for Brian Dean. He will get clear of the 98 that time, so give that spot to Brian Dean. He's now got complete control over his 2nd place, and now it's his chance to try to chase down that 25 of Dustin Powers.
J.R. Shepard is not going to be happy with that, but what can Brian Dean do in that number 73 machine? He's been running in the top 5 pretty much all night, and in these final 10 laps, he's now latched to the back end of Dustin Powers. He looks quick. When do you want to have it? In towards 3 and 4, working the middle is Brian Dean, and not quite going to be able to get there, so Dustin Powers is going to fend it off for now, but I think he gets tight through the center of their corner, and Brian Dean's going to have an opportunity down this front straightaway, but no, I think he had the lift out of it. That 25 placed his car beautifully, and Brian Dean had one of his only opportunities potentially taken away as they work down the back straightaway.
And look at the run from that 98, just not quite finding the gap. Brian Dean closes off just enough to not allow one race car to fit between him and the wall, as J.R. Shepard had a great run off of turn 2, but he doesn't have an opportunity. He's going to go all the way down to the inside this time, all the way down to that yellow line, trying to see if he can shorten up that corner and make a move on Brian Dean. But Brian getting a big launch, and that's going to cost that 98. He's going to lose another position possibly to that 13. And look at this Jeff Sharp here. He's flying off of turn 2.
And that's really going to hurt J.R. Shepard in the points if he can't get a couple of those spots back, because he is at 1 point likely the favorite to take the points lead going into next week at Martinsville, but losing those spots is really going to hurt as we're approaching 5 laps to go as Brian Dean still latched to the rear end of Dustin Powers on towards this back straightaway, and towards 3 and 4 still there. Can he work the momentum through the middle, or will Dustin Powers be able to cut it off through the center of the corner? The 23 machine, I think it's slightly quicker, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get on the throttle quick enough. He still latched to that rear near bar, Kelly.
Yeah, 5 laps to go. He's going to have to make a move sooner rather than later, and at this point, he's going to have to jump on any opportunity that may present itself. We may see him try to just aggressively throw that thing on the inside as we get towards these last few laps. But Brian Dean is working hard, and Dustin Powers is running completely smooth, completely consistent, just ignoring that car that's filling up his rearview mirror at this point.
So through at the center of the corner, Dustin Powers is going to come on towards this back straightaway inside of 5 laps to go. Going to be 3 laps to go at the stripe, and Brian Dean is just trying to set a move up for himself at this point. He looks low down to the inside groove. Will that end up working out for him? He gets a little bit of momentum, but not enough. But 3 laps to go. Time is running out, and Dustin Powers is doing good work to be defensive out front. He gets a big wiggle, and Brian Dean's going to work down to the inside. They're going to be side by side down this back straightaway here, but not quite enough. The 23 had to lift out an awkward moment.
Yeah, he had that in position for a minute, but Dustin Powers was just able to get the better drive off the corner. Coming now down to 2 laps to go. Brian Dean has got to figure something out. And if he's going to try now for the high side. He's going to try to see if he can sneak himself between the 25 and that outside wall. Not going to quite work out for him, but he can maybe try that one more time. And now Dustin Powers is going to have to think about which line he's going to block off. If he blocks that inside, that's going to give an opportunity for Dean to go on the outside as the white flag is prepared to wave.
White flag waves, and Stefan Alfonso's done a good job to reel in these two. So if Brian Dean isn't careful, he might lose that second spot. It's through 1 and 2. Dustin Powers is holding off Brian Dean for now. But will he have the momentum down on towards the back straightaway for the final time? That 23 is going to look somewhere, but the 25 puts that car in the middle of the racetrack to cut off as many moves as he possibly can. Through corner number 4, Brian Dean. Will he get physical? He's going to pull to the inside, but he doesn't have the momentum. And Dustin Powers is going to win round number 3 here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. He's going to go green to checkers and lead all 100 laps in this one tonight. That 25 machine was absolutely flawless this evening.
Yeah, he just ran a fantastically defensive line through those last few corners as Brian Dean had a great run through turns 3 and 4, just didn't have anywhere to go. Dustin Powers just made that car as wide as absolutely possible. And Dean looked like he was going to have the run off the corner, but just had to lift off for a moment as Powers just got himself in that position. And just a fantastic drive from that 25, completely consistent throughout the night, and one of those few cars that doesn't even have any dents on those bumpers.
That 25 machine on the front straightaway is going to start burning him down here on that Lucas Oil logo, and that's going to be a fantastic run for him after doing what he did last week. But for that, let's go down your post-race results here live from your Lions Club 100 at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So rounding out your top 5, we have Dustin Powers taking the big win tonight, Brian Den in 2nd, Stefan Alphonse in 3rd, J.R. Shepard 4th, and Lowell Jewell here rounds out the top 5.
Kenny Kibbe is going to come from 10th to finish it off the race in 6th. Jeff Sharp comes home in 7th. 8th goes to the 88 of Greg Stafford. Todd Liston will drop all the way back into 9th. 10th will be Kurt Smith.
Rounding out your field in this one, you have Matt Janoff in 11th, Mike Allen in 12th, John Hine 13th, Donnie Moore 14th, Ryan Detzler in 15th, and these cars all sorts of laps down. Charles Lahr, John Holcomb, Eric Nordoff, and Chip Dickert will round out the 19-car field in this one. We're going to step away for a couple of moments here on LSRTV, catch our breath, and we'll be back. We are back here for your Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series for your post-race coverage of your Lions Club 100 and post-race interviews coming at you, and we are going to kick it off immediately with race winner Dustin Powers and that number 25 car. Dustin, it was a fantastic race for you. Green to checkered in this one tonight, led every single lap. How was that 25 car hooked up? You look confident out there.
Yeah, man, it felt good. It was just a matter of having that track position, be able to get them jumps on them starts. You know, there was quite a few cautions, but all in all, it felt pretty good.
And as we go looking forward in 7 days' time, ASPCA 100 next week at Martinsville. Martinsville, a very different speedway from any of the racetracks we've run thus far. Excuse me. What do you think we're going to be having next week? And you feel confident there at the Paperclip?
Yeah, it's going to be a big, tight race in there. It's just going to be a matter of maybe moving somebody out the way to get a position or waiting on a mistake. But it'd be tight racing. Look forward to it. Sounds like fun.
Well, thanks for joining us, Mr. Dustin, and congratulations on a big win tonight. You did a fantastic job holding off a lot of hard-charging drivers with the likes of J.R. Shepard, Brian Den. Of course, you had the likes of Donnie Moore up there as well. Before we let you go, any shout-outs, and who would you like to thank for this performance tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Lions Club and Lowell for putting this on for us, and all the competitors. It's a real competitive league, and I enjoy racing with everybody.
We enjoy putting on the action. That was your race winner, number 25 of Donnie Moore, or excuse me, of Dustin Powers. I'm sorry, I have Donnie's name stuck in my head for some reason. I really do apologize for that. But we're moving on down the order. He was in a lot of action tonight, and he found that wall a lot. So we've been talking about that 26 machine all night. But we're going to move down to the 23, and that's going to be stood by with Kelly Dahl. That's the 23 of Brian Den.
Yeah, I'm here with the 23. Brian, you came home in second place, but you started all the way back in fifth, and so we saw a number of moves that you had to make throughout the night. And where did you think was the best place to pass here?
Both, actually. I preferred the bottom. I didn't know this track coming in, so I practiced the bottom all week, and I never ran the high line all time. So maybe that was my key to making the moves, because I had so much practice on the bottom side.
Well, now that you finished up in second place, you're going to be starting all the way back in ninth next week, going into Martinsville, another track that's very difficult to pass. Do you think you're going to be able to make the moves there as well?
Oh, it's super difficult to make passes on these guys, but Martinsville is one of my better tracks, so I think I'll have a good race there.
All right, well, good luck to you going on next week, Brian. You're going to be starting way back in the field. You made some moves tonight. Hopefully you'll make some more moves next week.
Thanks. I'm just glad I put a show on for somebody tonight.
All right, thank you very much for stopping by. I'm going to go throw it right back to Randy, who's going to be caught up with our third place finisher, and that will be the 13 of Stefan Alphonse.
Yeah, I'm stood by that 13 machine of Stefan Alphonse. Stefan, it was a good run from you in that number 13 car. You started way down the order in the 13th place. You're up plus 10 to finish on the podium in this one tonight. How was it avoiding all those incidents in this one?
It was pretty wild. It was an action-packed race, and in the beginning I even got into an accident and had to use my fast repair, so I'm really surprised I managed to get up to the top 5 and then to the top 3 where I am right now.
A lot of unique racetracks starting out this championship here in the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series. Langley into Oxford, into Lucas Oil, into Martinsville next week. A lot of unique challenges. What do you think we're going to see at the Paperclip in 7 days' time?
It's gonna be a wild one as well, I think. It's a flat track, and everyone will want to go to the inside line. I don't know, last time I raced I was still pretty slow. I gained some speed since then, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, thanks for joining us, Stefan. Shout outs to you, and hope to see you run strong next week. Before we let you go, any shout outs who'd you like to thank?
Thank you guys for the broadcast, and I just want to thank everyone out there on the track for racing that hard and keeping it clean, and it's just so much fun to race here.
Kelly, it was a fantastic showing from these guys in this one tonight. A lot of physical racing here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and I think we're going to have an interesting fight next week at Martinsville.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of bumping and banging on Martinsville. We saw a little bit of it here tonight. These guys aren't afraid to get a little bit physical, and we'll have to see next week if anyone's going to try to pull a bump and run to get around on Martinsville. It's going to be another track that's extremely difficult to pass at.
And with that, guys, that's 100 laps down here in the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series, and Dustin Powers took the big win away in this one, keeping it 3 different winners in this series thus far, even though J.R. Shepard tried his best to make it 2 in a row. In 7 days' time, we'll have the ASPCA 100 live from Martinsville, but coming up in just a few minutes, we'll have the United Sim Racing Truck Series at Chicago here on LSRTV, so be sure to join us for that in just a few minutes. Until then, we'll see you next time on LSRTV. Bye-bye.